yo. Hey, hey, hey.
Hi, Zach. How's it going, buddy?
Yo, yo. Welcome, everybody. Everyone joining us in the live. Going to be a packed live hosted by Saeed over in Canada right now. Santos will be joining us here shortly. Ada Iglesias will be joining us. Marcus Watts will be joining us. You know, Saeed, after the call, I'm going to have to ask you how you invited me to go live with you at the same time as you going live. I haven't figured out how to do that yet. So you're more advanced than me in this field already.
This is my third live. Yeah, it's got a little kind of icon in the bottom with a plus it's kind of like a figure with a second one, and you just click on it and just invite.
Was it after you had already gone live?
After I've gone live.
Okay. I hadn't even gotten the notification yet that you were live. But okay, cool. Yes, Santos will be joining us like and home. I just told him that we are starting up, which, by the way, Saeed, you're the one getting those requests, bro. So you may need to go accept those requests for Santos to join.
Right.
For Marcus and Ara. I don't know if you can reach your phone from right there.
I can already send them invites so that they could accept the invites, maybe.
Okay, yeah, maybe do that.
Santos. There we go. Marcus.
Santos, Marcus, and Ara. There he is. What up, Santos?
Hey, brother. Sorry, man.
Seeing you, man.
I have to be grateful for technology because it reminds me every day of how smart I'm not.
Hey, Santos.
Hey, brother.
Hey, how's it going?
What's up, y'all?
What's up,
Hey,
Marcus?
got your name right now.
Yeah, Saeed.
Saeed.
Yeah, man.
How are you, brother?
Good, man. Good. How's the weather out there?
Oh, look, it's just beautiful, man.
Is it?
I'm just getting a cloth to wipe my phone. I don't know why, but I think I'm the only one who has a dirty phone in the whole world, right? I see people in cafes and they're scrolling and they can see everything, right? Now, I clean my phone every day, perfectly clean, really meticulous, right? I touch it once, and it's like a cow dumped poo on it. I'm like, I can't see any. How do people do it? Hey, is mine just a dirty phone? Am I dirty?
It's probably your preference, Santos. You know, Marcus, who does this remind you of? I'm sure you can guess real quickly.
Isaac. It reminds me of Isaac. He's always taking towels and wiping phone screens.
Marcus and I were roommates, and I was becoming known for leaving towels in different places post having wiped my screen. Ara should be joining us momentarily.
I was like, where did the bathroom towel go? Oh, Isaac's wiping his phone.
Yeah. It's got to be all those good oils your skin makes.
Yep.
Okay, guys, so Ara should be joining us momentarily. As soon as she can, she's going to need to, share her testimonial and then kind of jet after that. But, hey, really glad that we were all able to hop on here right now. Really grateful for everyone who's watching the live, everyone watching the replay. We're going to be discussing the power and the benefits of pine pollen and what this absolutely amazing superfood has been doing for all of us. And, it's been absolutely life-changing. Wait, now that I'm thinking about it, can we have more than 4 users live simultaneously? Ooh,
I don't think so.
I don't think that we can. Ara will text me back and we'll see if there's any.
Saying hello in the text, so.
She is saying hello in the chat. Okay.
Yeah.
I can't even see the chat. My chat is frozen. It's not moving anymore, and neither is my my live. You know what? for the sake of the live, how about let's do this? I'm gonna hop off. I'll let Ara join in. She can share her story. When she's done, I'll hop back on.
Sounds good.
Awesome. And then in the meantime, Marcus or Santos, you guys can start talking about how you guys are feeling on Pine Pollen until Ara hops on. Ara, go ahead and request to join. I'm going to hop off right now.
Cool, cool. Well, I could start it off. I heard of Pine Pollen via Isaac. He had been posting about it a lot over the last year or so, and I was genuinely curious of how to incorporate this in my life, how it would affect my vitality, my muscle building, my performance. And I got which one is it? The purple labeled one?
Yeah, you got the Ponderosa one.
Yeah, I got the Ponderosa tincture at first, and I really liked it. Really easy under the tongue. Isaac always suggested holding it at least 30 seconds to a minute so it can absorb through the mouth. And I quickly went through that bottle, and then later on I upgraded to the gold label, and that's when I really saw some really significant things, just because I was working out a lot more than I had been prior. Isaac, as a witness, he noticed that I was looking bigger, and I wasn't even doing so much more, not necessarily hitting the gym, but more calisthenics, pull-ups, push-ups, things of that nature. And I'm amazed at the energy and the muscle building potential that I put on from just taking a few tinctures a day.
Yeah, that's great. It's amazing how you like, especially if you had a like a workout regime and your body was like already in that anabolic state of muscle building, how it can just lift that up for you.
Yeah. And I'm excited right now.
That's the one.
Is that the
one?
That's the one. That's the one.
Oh,
yeah, right.
Is that the mushroom one, Santos?
Huh?
Is that the mushroom one?
Yeah, it's got mushroom.
Oh yeah, that's the mushroom. The color looks kind of similar to the purple label one, but that's a 5 mushroom blend. It's all 5. 4 of them are wild and 1 of them is cultivated. The cordyceps is, you can't do it wild. It's actually endangered. So that one is another good product. But yeah, the purple one that he's talking about is this one. We do make a tincture out of that one, as well as the one that you got, Santos, is this gold one, which is a combination of the purple and the black. It's half and half of the two different species of pine out there that we can get in Canada.
So that's the purple?
That's the purple. Yeah, that's the powder itself.
I keep it in the freezer, so I can't see the color very well. It's got ice all over it, but that's the one.
That's the one. That's actually a good thing you mentioned, keeping it in the freezer. In the freezer, the shelf life is about 5. A research center in Canada has done a lot of research in terms of collecting pollen, but they mainly do it for propagation of different seeds. So they have looked at extending its shelf life. It's typically at room temperature. The pollen is naturally, the way its life cycle goes, it's alive for a couple of years, but then the potency drops down. But they realize that if it's frozen, it actually extends the shelf life of it. So one of the things we do in here is we keep everything in the freezer, and we bring it out of the freezer when it's time to bottle it and send it out to the distribution center so that it's always fresh.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's great, Marcus. That's awesome. Are you still taking it?
Yeah, I'm still taking it. And I I've been researching lately a calisthenics program to really like follow and do over a 90-day plus run, and I'll definitely be consuming it 2 to 3 times a day, like pre-workout, post-workout, and then probably before bed too. I really like taking certain superfoods before bed as I'm going into rest, so that my body has all the resources to repair. At least that's my theory.
No, that's a cool thing. One of the things, the comments we got about the powder, especially before bedtime, is, and this has come through some of the testimonials that's online, reviews that's online, especially people that had kind of light sleep and they couldn't get into deep sleep. Taking it before bedtime, it's helped that. I don't really know the mechanism of action and why it does that. In traditional Chinese medicine, is supposed to be, it supports yin, which is like anchoring your energy down. And it's got that connection with the pineal gland. So perhaps it's doing it through that. But like from a kind of molecular understanding of why it does that, we know that if your progesterone is offset compared to your testosterone and your estrogen, that can lead into sleep problems. So it's got some kind of a balancing effect on that front.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The tincture, in contrast, is more like it's gonna boost you up, right?
Yeah, yeah.
If you find that it's stimulating too much before bedtime, then you might want to just do it as a pre-workout.
For sure. I've been doing the powder in watermelon juice sometimes, and that is like that turns it up.
Oh yeah, you got the big one, Santos.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
how is this essentially different from the pine pollen? So, like, if you ask me, Isaac asked me a couple of weeks ago, how you going on the pine pollen? And I didn't have much to say because I've never been off it. I've been on it since I got here. So before the purple label thing there, I've been taking it anyway, you know, so.
Yeah, you mentioned you have mason jars of it, right?
Yeah. Well, there was a lady, my masseuse used to bring me it. And she taught me to keep it in the freezer, and so I wouldn't be the ideal person to ask, but I know that if I got off it, I know I would feel way less energetic than I am. So.
Hey, Ara, finally.
Hello.
Hey, Ara.
Yeah.
Hello. I think it was my Wi-Fi, so I don't know if Isaac want to try.
Yeah. Well, I think it's only 4 much. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a chat with you, and then I that you need to go soon after this. So then Isaac can jump back in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
So just to go back to what you were saying is what's the difference between the liquid and the purple one? This is just an extract of the other one. That's all it is. So
Yeah.
what we do is we put this pollen in alcohol. We let it sit for about a month. Then we press it and we separate the pulp from the liquid. And then we take the pulp into our machine, which is an ultrasonic extractor. We add water to that, some glycerin, and we blast it with ultrasound. And the ultrasound, what it does is that it shakes any of the remaining active ingredients out of the cells and releases it into water. Then we take that second water, press the pulp away from it. The second water, we condense it down, and then we mix it with that first extract of the alcohol. So you get a dual extraction, twice extracted tincture.
Yeah.
It's, some of the components in the tincture are complex sugars, and alcohol is not really good at taking those out. Those are the complex sugars that boost the immune system. So the ultrasonic extraction, that heat extraction is necessary. If you just do an alcohol extraction, you do get the compounds that are anabolic, but that would be at the expense of the compounds that are immune stimulating, and they have other benefits as far as the functional aspects of the pollen goes. The downside of it, the con, is that it's got a little bit of alcohol in it. So it's at 40% alcohol. It's got that kick. For someone who doesn't like the alcohol, obviously the pollen would be the better choice. Or alternatively, if you put it in some hot water, just like boil the water, and once it's boiled, you just add it in your dose to that, stir it, and take it. That's going to boil off the alcohol. Great. All right, it's great to see.
Hello, I'm. Can I share my testimony, you guys?
Yes, please.
Are you ready? Okay.
You.
Let me know if my internet is not good, because this is my first live in this place where I'm staying in Mexico City. So, just for a few days. So I apologize for that. Just let me know. Okay, I am so beyond excited to share my testimony, because the story I'm gonna share, a lot of women are gonna truly deeply feel it, and I want everybody just to open their consciousness, their awareness, their mind, to hear what we don't want to hear sometimes. Sometimes the body doesn't want to heal because he's used to like the suffering and pain. So just open your heart. The first time that I experienced this crazy emotional hormone unbalance when you get your period, I thought I was psycho. Like it was like 10 years ago. I was like, yo, why I feel like I'm driving? I want to just like kill, like not kill, but just punch, like, right? I was like, what is this inside of me? You know what I mean? So then I went deep into spirituality. I was vegan for a lot of years, trying to balance all of that. Then I discovered that maybe for my body, I needed to eat some fish and some of that, whatever. The point is that the last period that I got, like a few weeks ago, I start feeling that. And I didn't feel it for a long time. And I was like, oh shit. I remember like waking up and feeling like I swear, like I was like, what is this? What is happening? And then I was like, I'm not able to work. I was not able to clean, like to have a clear mind. I was not able to perform. I'm a leader. A lot of people depend on the actions that I take in the morning, 6 a.m. And then I was like, okay, all right, you can do this. So I walk a little bit. I started doing jump squats, whatever. And then I was like, oh, I have my pine pollen. So I go and I take all the pine pollen, like all of them. Few minutes after, I was like, oh, no way. It was that immediate on that moment, because I was like, what superfood, what medicine do I have in my cabinet that I can just grab and help me regulate my hormones? Yo, that was so easy. I was with my best friend that I put the pine pollen in her mouth, or anybody that is around me. And then, okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah? Okay, great. So I was telling my friend that everybody that I'm around, they see my habits and they're like, what are you doing? What are you drinking? I just don't explain. I just put them in their mouth. So I was like, do you remember the thing that I put in your mouth, under your tongue, and you hold it? She was like, yeah. Whenever you feel these, go to that cabinet and just take it. And she was like, what happened? I explained to her. So I cannot believe, like, even what is gonna be the long results in my body. Because one thing was that, but other thing is, like, I swear, I was like, I want to look 26. I don't know how old you think, guys, I am. I know I'm too smart to be 26. Just kidding. But also something else that I wanted, it was like, I'm 34 and I got separated on February. I was going to have kids or whatever. And then I was like, oh, yo, I'm back on the game. Almost 35. Okay. I was like, no, you're going to take your pine pollen. You're going to take all your superfoods, all the things that you do. And I want you to feel that time is not taking you, because of this, the giant, or the doctor told me like 35 was the best to have kids, whatever. I'm like, no, I'm breaking the rules because I'm super organic. I'm awesome. And I'm super healthy. So I started claiming with my pine pollen that I wanted my skin. People tell me I'm 26. Yo, I have not used makeup, just a little bit blush today because I had a meeting, but I didn't use makeup for the first time in my life since I'm maybe teenager. No makeup for a month and a half. I was feeling so glowy. Like I don't need the makeup because not just I feel glowy, my skin looks great. Just putting like eating pine pollen and my coconut oil. That's the only thing that I do. And my energy work, of course, like just integrating the medicine because this food that we're taking is medicine and we use it as a ritual and we just program what we want to create, and it's just insane. So that was first thing that I wanted to share. Second, about my skin. Third, my hair is amazing. Like it's just like super great color, super long. I try to also don't do anything in my hair. Like it has been, oh, and something that Isaac told me to say, even if women are gonna get mad, I don't care. I don't care. I'm gonna say it again because I love you girls. But people judge me so much for, again, like I say in my last testimony, but I just wanted to say again, because I was like, am I too crazy for not having Botox and fillers? And then I started realizing that all my lines of expression, using just a little bit of facial yoga and my pine pollen, I started getting yeah, I don't know, like just a little bit lines over here. And I was like, yo, we can do and heal so much just with this amazing food that women don't get it. And the other day they got mad, but it's true that your body, like, I never have like a small cheese. Like, what is this? Sorry, my Latino brain. Yeah, I never had like a little like, like this like curve. I was like flat like that, and then suddenly I'm like, yo, what the fuck is happening? What is this? Because I keep eating the same thing, my superfoods, my amino, everything, like my clean organic food, the same whatever. The only thing they changed was pine pollen. So, and last thing, so they bore me on social media. Okay, people are gonna love, people are gonna hate. We love you both. The reality is a lot of women put all their power on dating men relationship. People around me cannot believe how magnetic and attractive I am when I go out. Like my friends are like, "Yo, this is not even. I don't even know if this is like good. Like I don't know because it's like just going out and they're like, you're glowing. Like what is in your skin? What is it that you are glowing? That I feel healthy. For the first time, my hormones are not making me feel crazy. My thoughts are way, but we need to be disciplined about what we take. Sometimes even you can buy the pine pollen and you can just fucking keep it in your cabinet. No, like we need to be in a whole like a spectrum, being disciplined and just stop women putting outside of us the power that we have within. It doesn't matter if you have money, if you have a relationship, if you feel fucking glowing and amazing, you're gonna go out and in 24 hours, you're gonna manifest the life of your dreams. If you need a boyfriend, I have a lot. Like, I can't handle this. What I'm gonna do about it? Just kidding. Also, money is energy. Yo, I have 9 out of 10 conversion rate. It's easier for me to close and grab an Uber. I swear to God. It's just so easy. Because you're so clear. You're so aligned. You're so in your feminine, leading where I need to be leading in my equilibrium. And so, okay, complete.
That's awesome. That's really great. Yeah, when you're connected to your center, that's really like everything else in the world, it starts manifesting itself, right? It's great that you mentioned the skin component. One of the things that I've been meaning to do, and there's a lot goes that into producing these things. So we're always busy, but the very first next project that's on the top of my mind is making actually a topical, a combination of honey and pollen for the topical, because in traditional Chinese medicine texts they mention that for acne, for eczema, for bed sores, for things like that. So that's really awesome. That's great. I'm glad you've had that experience. I'm glad that you're glowing. And 35 is young. 35 is young. I gotta show this to my wife. I've been trying to get her on the pine pollen, But so far, I've been able to get around coconut oil. That's the first thing. Yeah.
One step at a time. I don't know if you guys have one question or something before I leave, like bringing my women perspective into you guys' magic.
Any questions, Santos? Or
Yeah, probably the hormonal side of it, right? It's testosterone charged, right? Like
it's amphiteric. You know, it balances estrogen, testosterone, progesterone ratios. So if somebody is, you know, like PMS is essentially when your progesterone is lower than what it should be compared to the estrogen. That's kind of like, you know, you get a big dive in progesterone, then estrogen imbalances, and that's where the PMS symptoms come up. So being amphiteric, most likely what it's done for you is it's kind of helped your own system balance that ratio on its own. In men, the amphiteric effect typically translates to anabolic activity, which is a lot of testosterone, progesterone. Same thing goes true with men too. If men are low in progesterone, what happens is that their testosterone, it starts going towards DHT. So it becomes a hydroxylated, which means that it's not good testosterone anymore. It's the type of testosterone that's going to have a negative impact on the prostate. It's the type of testosterone that's not going to have that anabolic muscle building activity. It's getting a little bit of progesterone balance in men also goes a long way in that sense.
right.
Yeah, the molecules have like very similar in so hormones are interesting because they're quite complicated. They do get impacted by a lot of things, and I think one of the reasons why pine pollen works so effectively is not even that it boosts your hormones. In some ways, it actually reduces the negative impact of the xenoestrogens, all the toxic chemicals that we get that are hormone disruptors. So instead of those hormone disruptors binding to your own hormones and your hormone receptor sites and whatnot, this blocks them from doing that work. So then what you have naturally is more available to do the actual work. Because we are definitely bombarded with xenoestrogens. It's a very toxic world as far as that goes. You know, I'm just as guilty as the next person. Up to go, you know, at least 2-3 times a week. But that cup of coffee, you know, the lining of that is loaded with plastic estrogens.
Right.
If you're traveling, you're always buying bottled water, right? That's just, you know, my dose of xenoestrogens. But it doesn't end there. The dairy industry, right? That's when you're even though like a lot of products in Canada they're marked as low hormone or hormone free, the amount of the constant milking of the cows is getting that prolactin and estrogen going in their system, which shows up in the milk, in the dairy product. So there's a lot of that foreign estrogens, foreign xenoestrogens that are not good for us, that the pollen can help in that front.
For sure. I think Isaac's trying to join right now.
Yeah. He is plus here.
Yep. Yeah, not only those things, but, you know, if you're using any commercial laundry detergents or any like athletic wear, you know, all those compounds are disrupting the hormones as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like some men that use testosterone, right? That use juice or anabolic hormones. The problem with that is in the long run, it actually backfires and has a negative impact. Whereas the pollen can have that, again, an amphiteric effect of helping them.
There we go.
Boost that. Yo, Isaac, welcome back.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
Yeah. So we were just talking about xenoestrogens, foreign estrogens. Santos, I imagine where you're living and the type of lifestyle you got is pretty much free from xenoestrogens, right?
Well, look, I'm 7,000 feet, 7,000 feet high, right? So at the south of Mexico. So you're looking that way that's south. That's Guatemala, right? Just beyond, just over there. And all you see here is pines and oaks. This is what I can't see the stars at night.
Right.
I'm doing a 360 of my sky. That's the only patch that I can see stars, right? Then everything's pines.
Pine trees, yeah. I can see the woods there, yeah.
So I'm already in that. I'm getting all the hormonal. I mean, it's really filtering out the down below is San Cristobal.
The EMFs. You're guarded by all EMFs by the pine trees, yeah?
It's like a filter. It's a filter system.
Yeah. Perfect. Nature's filter system. Hey, Santos and Saeed, actually, I wanted to bridge this gap really quick if we could. You know, Santos, you've talked so much about the pineal gland, how to detox the pineal gland, but also simultaneously how to nourish it. And Saeed, on your end of the spectrum, you know the nutritional aspect of that and how pine pollen rooted from this pine tree and how there's different esoteric meanings behind the pine cone specifically being shown to replicate and point to the pineal gland in the human body. What could you say, Saeed, that pine pollen and pine needle oil is doing with possibly detoxing the pineal gland as well as stimulating even more secretions of hormones from the pineal gland as well? I'm asking you, Saeed.
Yeah. So the pineal gland it's historically it's been thought as the seat of your soul, right? There's a lot of mystery around it. Of course, like when you talk about the spirituality of the soul and the energetics aspects of our being, it's always mysterious because we only know so much. We're limited by our physical reality, and we can obviously see like cracks through that reality and understand a little bit more our greater purpose and greater soul path. But it's definitely mysterious. From a physiological standpoint, we know that it's really a key location within the brain for setting up your diurnal rhythm, your daily rhythm, the wake sleep cycle, and the connection with melatonin, and the fact as you age, it actually it calcifies and it becomes less active in a way, and that kind of builds into the loss of sleep as you age. That builds into the loss of hormone regulation as you age. So the connection there is essentially the longevity promoting aspect of it. That we know, like from what is called is like the doctrine of signatures, which is similarity of some plants to the specific organs they impact. If you look at the pollen cell under the microscope, it kind of looks like the pineal gland. It's that like round shape with a little bit of a protrusions. And when it germinates, it looks like the male organ, which is another kind of right?
Yeah. So, I'm sorry, if you could re-say that for those who missed it. You said the pollen cell looks like what under a microscope?
So the cell itself, it looks like a Mickey Mouse head. It's got the round shape, and it's got the air sacs, which like be floating in the air. But that is similar to like when you look at the pineal gland, it's like a oval type shape with a little bit of protrusions on the top. So it's got that aspect. So traditionally, it's been compared to that aspect of the pineal gland. But really, the science behind it is that if you look at the regulation of there is a negative and positive feedback loop that happens within the brain from the gonads. So like the brain sends out the hypothalamus pituitary, the adrenal connection of the HPA axis, which regulates how the gonads and whether the testes or the ovaries are producing hormones. It has a daily rhythm to it. And that daily rhythm is set by the pineal gland through the activation of sleep-wake cycle. One of the energetic things you can say about it is when we are asleep, in a way, our spirit is moving in with the grace of God, right? Like when you're asleep, you have no control of your body, no awareness of your body. It's just of in itself is mysterious that you're awake and you feel present and you're here, and then you're asleep, and then boom, where did that go, right? But you are still there, and you return to that same body. So that whole there is quite a bit of mystery with pineal glands, to be frank, as far as like the science of it goes. But for sure, it's we know that it helps with the it's part of your daily cycles, along with your cortisol secretion and the other hormones. But also we know that as you age, it's the organ that gets calcified and is less active. So anything that supports that organ is going to have more of a longevity aspect in terms of slowing down the aging process.
Now, you talk so much about detoxing xenoestrogens as well. Could we see that fluoride is possibly one of those xenoestrogens, or is it similar? Is it something that can be detoxified by the pollen powder, the tincture itself of the pollen, or even possibly the pine needle oil? Is this something that can be detoxified through these modalities?
Like fluoride, you mean?
Is that and how that can calcify the pineal gland as well.
Yeah. I don't know that. I don't know if I can say yes to that because there isn't any research I've come across. But the fluoride connection essentially is I use a filter for my water at home. That's a charcoal filter we have that we run our water from through, because most municipal water has been fluorinated. We know it's got chloride in it, but the fluorine aspect is also there. So does the pollen help with that? Maybe I don't know.
Okay. Santos, if you wanted to comment at all on the importance of those secretions being empowered by the pollen and how it can help those secretions, as well as help even the sacred secretion and help regeneration throughout the body, as well as age reversal, because everything is coming from these glands, and if we keep these glands empowered, time is nothing but a number. We're just it's just a label, right?
Yeah, look, we what we are doing is metabolizing and generating, hence hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen. That's right. So nitrogen simply means ignite fire to generate fire. So the 7 in the periodic table, it symbolizes fire. And in Neoplaton philosophy, Pythagorean, whatever, Hermetic, that element is the element of fire, right? And then it represents the fire, and then what represents, because there's 4 elements, right? Earth, water, air, fire. So nitrogen does that. The air is oxygen, no brainer. The water is hydrogen, and the earth is carbon, right? So and guess what? Those are the 4 building blocks of the universe. 90% here, 90% there, 90% everywhere. Old MacDonald had a farm, and all he had was 4 elements: hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and
Just broke up, Santos. Brother Santos.
Got squiggly. Am I on?
Yeah, now you're back. We didn't hear the last probably 20 seconds.
Where was I at?
Right when you were talking about Old MacDonald had a farm.
And all he had was 4 elements, right? Earth,
Right.
water, air, and fire. So we will call it in physics solid, liquid, gas, plasma. So yeah, so plasma is in the nitrogen, and we're breathing it. What I'm swimming in here is 78% nitrogen. That's the air we breathe, and yeah, it's in Neoplatonic philosophy, for instance, Western Christian philosophy. It's the fire, the mysticism, the baptism of fire, the true baptism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool. When it's interesting, as humanity has evolved and our understanding of the natural world has evolved. We've always explained our understanding of our surroundings and the world that we live in different terms, right? So those in traditional Chinese medicine, the fire is the connection with the heart, and the air is the connection with the lungs. And one of the, again, it's back in the day, they didn't know the science. They didn't know that this has like testosterone like molecules, steroids, or antioxidants. It was not known, but what is known and what's written about it is that it nourishes the heart and the lung radiant. So it nourishes the fire and the air, and your lungs is the closest connection you have to the ephemeral chi, the chi of the substance of spirit, right? Because stop your breath, your spirit is gone. That's where it's at. Yeah, it can definitely build that fire, that fire of love, that fire of energy. Interesting, love comes into a word there. That's a Freudian slip on my part, but but yeah, it's the connection there is definitely there. It's just a matter of putting more science. Santos, it's great that you showed us that picture of the where you live, because one of the things is about pine is that it's everywhere in the northern hemisphere. Like anywhere in the northern hemisphere you go, there is pine trees, and we are just underutilizing them, because I really hope that the knowledge of pine pollen spreads enough so that some of the people that have this in their backyard are aware that this is actually producing pollen in the springtime and harvest it for themselves, right? Because it's empowering local communities to be able to do that. One of the things we do in trying to empower the communities that we work with is we have a knowledge sharing process with the First Nation communities in Canada. When we go on their land and harvest with them, we actually teach them how to process this on small batches for themselves, because historically, the First Nations and the indigenous of the American indigenous, and they have used it. There's historical records, ethnobotanical medical records, that they were using them. They were using
an offering.
Pardon?
The pollen is used as an offering in many Native American traditions.
Yeah, and also as food. They use the buds, these buds that are on the thing. They used to chew them and swallow the juice, which would be the pollen juice, the yellow juice, and spit out the husks. But that traditional knowledge was lost. It was lost because of the policies, the government policies. It was lost because of the generational gaps. It was lost because of the all the things.
Many reasons.
Right? I think it's important for us to be able to spread that awareness back into the human psyche, and how these pine trees are actually wonderfully resourceful, and and they're actually very connected to our state of evolution, because the bark had been used traditionally as food, the inner bark. It actually is it has a lot of carbohydrates, so it's a survival food. The like you're talking about last time, we were talking about the pitch and the turpentine. So the oil from that, right? It's lost its place in medicine, but it was a heal all medicine as far as any type of parasites, any type of inflammation goes. It was one of a kind medicine that historically was used.
You know, speaking of parasites, Marcus, you've been very patient, brother. I know that you're in the middle of a parasite cleanse right now.
Yep.
You know, I'm sure that you can feel a bit of a difference, especially during this cleanse, which can be quite taxing on the body. A parasite cleanse can be quite taxing on the body, your energy levels, the organs. I'm sure you can feel a difference once you get a few of those tinctures under your tongue of the pollen and even possibly the pine needle. I know that you were kind of consistently taking some shilajit before that. I don't know if you are currently doing any of that right now, if you're mainly just on the pine pollen. So if you can express some of those differences that you're feeling both on and off that you've noticed since your 4-month journey of pine pollen.
Yeah. Going back to the parasite cleanse thing, I'm on day 9 of a 10-day parasite cleanse right now. And each day I've incorporated pine pollen, and I don't really feel down at all. Like some people feel like these detox symptoms and things. Like I can hit a workout, which is not necessarily what I want to do full-fledged in a parasite cleanse, because I want to keep that going towards, eliminating those entities. But like internally, like, my energy's high. And I'm taking 2 tinctures minimum a day, usually at the start of the day. And that's where I feel that kick. And then, like I was saying earlier before you hopped back on, typically I'll do like some type of lymphatic movement, maybe some fascial maneuvers to start the day, and maybe some kind of like Pilates or yoga currently. And usually after that, I hydrate with whatever juice I have available. And since we're at the end of the melon season, I've been, taking advantage of the melons that were left. So I've juiced watermelon and added the powdered pine pollen and mixed that thing up. Man, I feel invigorated the whole day.
Oh, yeah.
The whole day.
I bet. Using that watermelon juice as a delivery for the pollen, that's perfect.
Exactly.
Take it right into the cells, right into the bloodstream.
Exactly.
You're definitely going to be feeling that all day. Yeah. Let me ask you this, because I've seen you do it a few times on video. Taking a tincture during your workout or right before your workout, do you feel that extra, like, jump to go do 2 more sets, do 2 more reps?
Yeah, definitely.
Those kinds of things.
Definitely. Yeah, it's interesting. Sometimes I don't notice it myself until I'm like in the set and I'm like, oh, actually I can go a little bit further than I thought I could. So that is a cool discovery. And I would say too, for me, like when I'm working out with another person, that's when I really can see the difference if I'm the only one taking it. And then the other is doing the same rep range and whatnot, like I tend to be able to go longer than the person that doesn't. So, that there's a lot of.
You really do see that difference, bro. You really do see that difference if you're working out with someone else.
Yeah. And
they're not taking the pine pollen, and you are. You can see that you can do 5 more reps. You can do 1 more set. You can do just a little bit more because it's giving you that power. It's that magic molecule, guys. It's testosterone. Yeah. It is the male magic molecule, which is testosterone, which makes us more creative, providing, it helps us provide more, and it makes us more protective. It helps us be men. It helps us be better men. And it's that testosterone that's allowing us to do that. And it's the testosterone that's naturally occurring in the pine pollen that gives us that power, And for those of you who were commenting earlier, the ladies worried about testosterone in Ara, her story was explaining specifically about how when she was feeling a little bit too aggressive during her moon, during her time of the month, this helped calm her down and mellow her out. So it's not going to boost your testosterone in a manner that you have too much testosterone. No, it's adaptogenic, just like, you know, all other adaptogens are, but this is going to balance your hormones out. So if you have too much T, it's going to lower your T and boost your estrogen. If you have too much estrogen and not enough T, it's going to balance that out. Whatever that your specific body's needs are, it's going to adapt to those needs. And for so many men in this, you know, we're going and living through a testosterone epidemic, a low testosterone epidemic. For those of you men who have low T, you're in the 200s, you're in the 300s, even in the 400s. Honestly, if you want to become a high performer, you want to get your T into the 6, 7, 800s. If you want to max out your performance on a daily basis, you want to get your T up to those levels. And you can do that by having naturally occurring T, not taking tren, not taking TRT, which is going to turn your body's own organs off from producing testosterone.
Right.
It turns off your body's ability to produce testosterone because it's getting injected synthetically. And then getting your body to produce it again afterwards, after you're off your cycle, takes upwards of a year to 2 years. I've heard of longer cycles. It's taking longer than that for you to produce your own T, which is absolutely ridiculous. You know, I got friends of friends, business partners who, this guy just absolutely cannot control his emotions because he's constantly cycling on and off of tren and TRT, and he's ruining business connections because his emotions are all over the place. And when they're having an important conversation and something doesn't go his way, he just flips. And it's literally like cost them investors in their companies and things like that. Mm-hmm. And I'm like hitting up Saeed. I'm like, Saeed, how do we replace this guy's TRT? What does he need? And Saeed's like, I think you told me he needs the gold label 3 times a day minimum or something like that. Minimum. And that's going to help produce the body's natural ability to produce T. Go ahead, Saeed.
Yeah, if you've been on hormone replacement therapy for a long time, it's that HPA axis connection. It kind of linked negative feedback from the testosterone to your brain, so your brain loses its regulation of the gonads. So it actually causes shrinkage over time too, right? So it definitely it's a few points there that Marcus and Isaac, you both brought up. The balancing effect is a key thing. It's an amphoteric. It's an adaptogenic. It's not a stimulant. There are certain herbs that are stimulants. With stimulant herbs, you can only do for such a long time. Like let's say Tonkat Ali. That's a really good stimulant. If you're on low T, and like you were mentioning, your friend that's been using testosterone for a long time and he's got, you need that stimulant in there to replace the injections. But the stimulants over time, when you stimulate something, it's kind of like, you know, blowing air at the fire. You can only do so much without adding more wood to that fire, right? You need
Makes sense.
You can only do so much yang, so much energy before you run out of steam. So the beauty of the pollen being food, being mana, being nutrition, being yin substance, is that it doesn't do that. It doesn't backfire in the sense of causing a reduction in testosterone regulation. And one of the key things about adaptogens, and this is good for everyone to know, adaptogen, be it pollen, be it ginseng, be it anything else, is that it's a good idea to cycle. It's a good idea to do, in traditional Chinese medicine, they used to do 40 days on, and they would like up the dose for the first 20 days, down the dose for the next 20 days, and then take 10, 15 days break, and then do the same thing. Or 5 days on, 2 days off, 5 days on, 2 days off. That's another way of doing that. 40 days to be a magic number for any type of botanical process. You know, if you've seen like detoxes, like 7-day detox, 2-week detox, they're good. They're good. They're a good start up towards the detox process. But if you want to do a proper detox, 40 days is a key thing. When you were talking, Marcus, about doing a parasite cleanse, you definitely want to like keep that for 40 days, because these bugs, you know, they, even though if you kill the bugs, the seeds are still like the eggs are still going to be there. So you want to continue that through, right? And the pine needle is amazing for antiparasitic. Like pine needle, cloves, and walnut husk and artemisia. Those are like, if you got those 4 herbs and, you know, 3-4 times a year you cycle through them. Our lifestyle is, because of all the processed foods that we have in our diets nowadays, it is just creating that ground, that train for parasites to start showing up. So not to confuse anyone, the pine pollen doesn't do parasite cleanse. It's we're talking about another product which is made from pine needle. It's a green label. Did I send you, Santos, any of that?
No.
Pine needle, but you know, you're surrounded with pine needles. It's just a matter of like grabbing a few of them and throwing it in a.
Santos, you may have some, bro. I think you did show me a picture of you having some. It's going to be a green label. It's going to say literally pine needle oil on it. But Saeed,
can you expand upon that side with the parasite cleanse of the pine extract?
Needle?
Yeah, the pine needle? I have the green label too. I haven't been taking it through this parasite cleanse, but if it can
oh yeah, that's like of the line we have, that's your best bet for parasite cleansing. So pine needles, there's a lot of clinical trials, not clinical trials. There's a lot of what do you call it? Animal studies, and there is cellular studies. They are antiparasitic, antiviral, and antifungal. That's what pine does. You know, like in nature, you will never see a needle of pine getting fungal. Withers and dries and goes yellow and just dries, right? Other plants, deciduous plants, you can see that process of like fungal growth, fermentation happening. But pine needles is loaded with terpenes, is loaded with molecules that are like antimicrobial in general, like whichever type of organism it be. So it was traditionally used for that purpose. It was, you know, like if you just the bark itself and the needles, you can mix up the bark and the needle and just make a really strong decoction from it and use it for antimicrobial of any sort, bugs, be it parasites. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, thank you
for sharing.
I'll add that the next 2 days, today and tomorrow.
Yeah, and definitely the number of days is important. Like doing it for a cycle of like, when I do it in clinic, I usually get my I tell them, you know, this is like more like a 3-month process. I tell them, but 40 days is bare minimum because we know that the eggs survive much longer. So,
real quick, Marcus, true or not true, you're going to do 10 days on, 20 days off, and then another 10 days, right? Around the next full moon?
Yeah, so what I'm thinking right now from that off period is I'll just continue taking the green label throughout that
that's exactly what I was going to say.
Like add a quarter teaspoon of cloves to your diet.
Okay.
Like,
that'll be perfect.
Don't buy ground clove, because ground clove is, you never know how long ago was it grounded.
Right.
Was it 2 years ago, 3 years ago, before it left India and, you know, arrived in another port in Europe, before it got North America, got packaged here and sold to you? You never know that. So get full cloves and grind it yourself, so that you actually get the benefits of the oils there. But clove is, I think, every smoothie I make, I add a little bit of clove to it.
Brother Saeed, real quick, man, you know, we're all part of Purium here. A big thing that we share is Biomedic. It's clinically proven to reduce glyphosate toxicity by 74% in 6 weeks. But here's the thing, is glyphosate is known for turning off the shikimic pathway, and pine pollen is known for turning it back on. What do you know about the shikimic pathway? What do you know about pine pollen's potential anti-pesticidal effects, as well as it turning back on the shikimic pathway, and what that pathway even does in the body? You know, what is this toxic pesticide doing by turning it off? And how is pine pollen helping us by turning it back on? I think that would be a great point for us to end on here.
Oh man, you put me on the spot there. I got to do my research on that.
Okay, that's okay.
I know a lot of stuff, but sometimes when I don't know something, I know for a fact that there is shikimic acid in all tissues of pine.
Okay.
So shikimic acid, you get it from whether you do the pollen, whether you do the needles. The needles have the highest source of shikimic acid relative to the pollen or other tissue. And I also know that shikimic acid is of in itself an antiviral. It acts as an antiviral. So above and beyond that, in terms of the connection with glyphosates and how the pathway is shut down, I know the connection. I just need to do a little bit more research about the science of it.
I feel like you even answered right there, though. Just the fact that it has shikimic acid in it. I didn't know that. That's probably what activates the shikimic pathway again, because the thing is glyphosate is known to kill anything that's not a GMO. That's our shikimic pathway, which is God's biology. And so this is going to give us that, divine electricity to turn it back on and get our senses properly functioning again. That's what I know about the shikimic pathway, is that it controls our senses, our sense of sight and smell and these things. And I also heard that, COVID was one of the things that was turning off our sense of smell. And so people who were struggling with that, receiving COVID, and it was turning off your sense of smell as well as reducing your sense of sight, if you were to incorporate pine pollen, you could turn that back on, up that sense of smell again, so that you can live a normal human life again.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had patients that post-COVID for a number of years, they still can't smell well.
Wow.
It's a topic we shouldn't get into right now.
Probably. Probably. Just to save our own butts, right? But hey, guys, for everyone who's watching this replay and as well as watching the live right now, you guys can support Santos by using his code Syncretism to save 15% if you want to get pine needle oil, which is anti-parasitic, as well as all the other effects we just went through, or the pine pollen, as well as any of the other super mushrooms that are on there, the super fungi that are on there. And then, Marcus, if you want to announce your code.
Yeah, y'all can use Watts, WATTS 15 if you want to support me, and thank you very much.
Yeah, guys, and just as we talked about, anti-parasitic, the pine needle oil, the pine pollen itself is going to get rid of those xenoestrogens from environmental toxins that come from many different avenues, whether it's pesticides, microplastics, whatever. So this is not only detoxifying, but also simultaneously nourishing with carbs, fats, and proteins inside of the pine pollen. And it's going to build that magic molecule, testosterone, which makes you creative, powerful, provisionary, and protective. You want to become a better provider and protector? You want to up your T, and you're going to do that naturally with pine pollen, not with a synthetic injection where you're relying on your manhood over from China. You want to get your natural T from Earth, from Mother Earth, from pine tree, from pine pollen. And you can do that, guys, by supporting both Marcus and Santos. Saeed has been a pioneer in this space, serving pine pollen to the world for, when was Canadian Pine Pollen founded again, Saeed?
2016.
2016. I wanted to say 2016. I didn't want to misquote, though.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother, so much for sharing everything that you shared today. Anybody have any final thoughts?
I'm just excited to add in the pine needle concentrate and do that through the end of this parasite cleanse, the last today and tomorrow, through the rest period, and then throughout the next 10 days in about 20 days from now. I'm excited.
Good.
Santos, any final thoughts for what this could do to the pineal gland, what you see happening for young men needing higher testosterone, superfoods, the vegan community, anything?
Well, I mean, I'm always feeling good. It works. As I said, I'm not really the best person to be asking because I was already on it, and it was magic from the moment I had it. So I've never stopped taking it. But now I'm taking this one, right? So, and yeah, it's I feel great.
Great.
Awesome.
You were already sold on it. You already have the experience, and you had the know-how of actually getting it locally, which is great, right? That's what we are trying to promote for people. It's the thing about our pollen is the uniqueness about it is that it's North American. It hasn't been imported from China and then rebottled here, which is the contrast with the reason 2016 we started this company was that because I came across of it around that time through Burgess, and I realized that everything I was getting in the market, even though it said, made in USA, made in Canada, it was an imported product that was then bottled here. And if you bottle here, you can say made in Canada, made in USA, but the reality is the source was not from here. So we wanted something that could be sourced here, and we thought it was a shame that we had of pine, so much hectares and hectares of pine naturally growing in this continent, and the knowledge of it was historically with us, but it wasn't being used. So that was the impetus behind the company and making the pollen.
Saeed, one final question for you, bro. Do you have any stories off the top of your head of a client coming in with, very low T, being on the pollen for a certain amount of months, and then you hearing back of them getting their T tested again and seeing an increase?
Yeah, I mean, it's day in, day out. Like
I'm sure. I just wanted to hear the stories.
Yeah. So I practice 2 full days a week now, 11 hours, and the rest of it goes into the facility, the factory here in terms of keeping up with FDA audits, keeping up with Health Canada audits, keeping up with local audits, this, that, the other, all the paperwork and the production that goes into it. But in those 2 days that I practice, I do see a lot of hormone cases. I do see a lot of hormonal issues that are secondary to concussion, head injuries. Head injuries do a number on the hormones.
Wow.
That regulation of the HPA axis. One of the reasons that some people post concussion develop depression, anxiety is one of those. I see a lot of men coming in that have anxiety, and the very first thing I do is test testosterone. That's if you've never had anxiety, and all of a sudden you start developing anxiety around your work, your life, your relationship, this, that, the other, the first thing to investigate is how is your testosterone, because that is what gives you that energy of confidence, centeredness, the ability, the protectiveness, right? And then when I test that, oftentimes I look to see if the person is in the upper 25 percentile of the range, especially if they're not, they're below the age of 50. It's, as you age, naturally testosterone needs to drop down. But if you're not in the upper 25 percentile, then, at 40 and 50, you have a testosterone of a 70-year-old. Obviously, you're going to be feeling anxious. Obviously, you're going to be feeling a little bit low. And you can see this with age. As people get older, their ability to look after themselves declines. The confidence declines. And a lot of that comes down to this testosterone aspect, right? I look at my own dad. One of the things is, I've always looked up to him. For me, he's like the most confident person I've known, the most caring, the most kind of like protective, providing kind of person. But nowadays, he can get anxious around driving, like, from one place to the next, right? Like if he has to go alone to a place that he, so it is that it's the testosterone being lower. Obviously, at his age, 80, 83, there isn't a whole lot that can be done. But a lot of it comes down to preventing early on, right? So, for example, one of the things we know is the women, most of them nowadays have osteoporosis or osteopenia. One aspect of that is because of lifestyle, not getting physical activity, weight-bearing activity. But another one is not preventing during the early premenopause, menopausal time, during those early 40s, the decade of 40s to 50s, if they actually do some preventative work to balance their hormones, to get rid of the xenoestrogens and whatnot, they don't end up being in that space. But a lot of people do it too late. My 2 cents about testosterone hormone regulation is that you want to be proactive about it. You want to this is where an ounce of prevention, equals to tons of treatment. Where when you're proactive about it, that's where you can actually slow things down. And that's, Marcus, what you were saying is like when you're working out with someone else, you notice the difference. That's really what it is. I mean, this product is not going to make you Superman. It's not going to change your genetics. It's not going to make you someone who's like twice the size of you. But it's going to take you from your capacity, if this is the range of your capacity and you're operating here, it's going to push you towards your optimal state. That's what it does. Mm-hmm. So doing that prevention, doing that early on activity in order so that later on you have the ability. Santos, one of the things is like, if you're healthy as much as you are, and it's because you've had these herbs in your life, right? You have the knowledge, you have the ability, you have the capacity to have integrated this lifestyle, the pollen, the moss, the sea moss, some of the other herbs that you're using way back when you were younger, so that at your age you're active and kicking and independent, and you have the mental faculties to be present and be here with us. So it's that prevention.
It's the prevention. Awesome, thank you. Something more specifically that I meant is, could you give us a specific example of someone who was maybe
a patient? Yeah.
Sure.
It's so this one was like an odd one, because when I do protocols, it's never one intervention, right? So when the whole idea of naturopathic medicine is look at the physical, the physiological, and the psychological, right? Okay. And give tools and lifestyle suggestions around that, and then use herbs and some intervention. So I can't think of a case where I've used only pine pollen. It's always been, okay, how's your sleep? We need to make you get good sleep. How is your physical activity? We need to, if your health is a chair sitting on 4 legs, there is, one of them is asleep, the other one is nutrition, the movement is the third one, and then your connections is the fourth one. Your connection to self, to humanity, to your friendships, to your family, to the creator. So I look at all those 4 legs and I make suggestions. And in the nutrition side is where I use the pollen. So I make other suggestions in that area. But there's this one case that just totally blew my mind where, so in Canada range, so in US is like, what is it, 200 to 800, that's the range. In Canada, it's a different measurement. It's deciliter per milliliter of testosterone, and the range is 8 to 28. And I had this one young guy that, and this is before the days I knew pine pollen. Like I've been working with him for a long time, trying to help him with anxiety. So he had anxiety, and I was using homeopathics. I was giving him this instruction, that instruction. I was using this and that. And it wasn't until I came across pine, like it was those early years of 2016 where I came across pine pollen, and it wasn't even ours. It was a Chinese imported product that I used for him. And over a matter of 3 months, I'd been like, trying to push his testosterone up. It was creeping up, creeping down. It went all the way to 27. It just went all the way to 27. He was using some red light therapy as well in conjunction, which is one of the things I suggest. Just like shining red light directly on the gonads. That definitely boosts the testosterone because it improves the circulation. But it was a really eye-opener for me in terms of, yes, this is a herb in our pharmacy in our natural pharmacy that had been in my blind side up to that point. That was really what sold me on the pine pollen, because up until that point, I didn't know. I was using other herbs. I was using ginseng. I was using tribulus. I was using tonkat alley. I was using carnitine, selenium, zinc, some of these like essential things. But then it didn't really, that synergy didn't happen until pine pollen was brought in to add to the impact.
Yeah. So he was at what, like 10 or 11 before that, and this took him to 28?
When we started, he was below 8, and then he crept up with all the supplements to 12, and then this brought him up to 27.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, guys, you guys can get your pine pollen from CanadianPinePollen.com. Use code Syncretism to support Santos. Watch 15 to support Marcus. I will get Ara's code as well and post it in the captions below this live. Thank you so much for joining us today, Saeed, Santos, and Marcus, and everyone who's watching this replay as well as on the live. Really appreciate everyone's time. Saeed, we have another live to do, myself and Santos, with the founder of Purium in 40 minutes, so I got to go charge my phone for that to make sure I have enough charge to even do that. But Santos, I'll see you back on here in a little while, man. And Saeed, thank you so much for your time today, brother.
Thank you guys for being here. Thank you, Santos. Thank you, Marcus. Isaac, thanks for arranging this, and it's always good to see you all.
Much love, everybody.
See you
guys
Much
later.
love. Peace.